heater! I dare you to hit it!
He'll be sorry.
Want the heater? I'll give it to you.
Basketball, maybe they don't hit it.
A swing and a drive to deep right.
Clear the deck. Cannonball coming.
Left field. It is out of here.
What up? What's good? Baseball Unstitched. We are back. We got a good show for you today. If you're watching us on YouTube, you'll see that we have another co-host today. Jack Wilson himself is on the pod with us. Got a lot to talk about this week in baseball. Non-roster invites, a couple guys who made rosters, a couple guys who didn't that we were surprised to see. We're going to go into a little bit, too, about guys that we're excited about who may have made an opening day roster, might not have made an opening day roster. We're going to ask Jack about his opening day experiences, as this is the opening day episode this week. And, you know, we always know he's got a good story for us, so we're excited to hear a little bit more. And then, you know what, Flax? Jack, why not? Let's just hit those way too early awards again, and let's see what Jack over here is thinking about this year and all of the fun awards that you and your friends are probably currently predicting. But we start where we always start. Or do we? Jack, how was your weekend?
No, Ryan, it was good. If you follow me on Instagram, you know I was running through New York with a crazy man with my daughter. We do a dad and daughter trip every year, and we go to New York City, and we go to Broadway, and we see as many shows as humanly possible. So we were there for 4 days and saw 7 shows. So we cranked it out, loved every minute of it. That's that's our time. That's the thing we love to do together. Yeah, it was it's fun. It goes fast, but it's a lot of fun. And, you know, Broadway shows you're looking at, it's like watching a Major League All-Star game. It's the best in the world at what they do. So acting, singing, dancing, and we go to all of like the big, exciting shows. So not too many dramas or plays or anything like that. We hit all the fun musicals. So it was good. But really, Ryan, how was your weekend, buddy? I want to know how your weekend went.
Thank you so much for asking. I waited a really long time for somebody to ask me that question, so I'm really appreciative.
Unbelievable.
Weekend was good. We had our first scrimmage of the Men's League Baseball season. Stuff was moving actually a little bit more than I thought it would be on the hill, so we'll dial that in for Game 1 next week. But past that, from an overall perspective, getting ready to move into a house in a couple weeks here, so got cleared to close. Great news for us, and thank you. So things have been good for
I'm on your roster in case I'm ever in town. I'll come and sub.
Perfect. I will absolutely put you on our roster. You don't have anything to worry about.
I was going to say, you just
on the roster.
Yeah.
You just didn't realize it.
It wasn't going to make a difference. You were just going to be able to play no matter what. We would have made sure it was ready.
I might just pop up. I might download your guys' schedule and just pop up. Be like, hey, guys, I'm playing.
You're not even going to have to download it. I'm about to send it to you. That's all you had to say.
Hey, I'll catch. That's what I'm talking about. Get behind the disc.
Oh, my God.
It's funny you say that. Flex, how was your weekend?
Whoa. Weekend was good. I appreciate you asking. I actually thought I was going to get left out this week as punishment, which would have been fair for never asking you how your weekend was. But no, it was good. My arm feels like I got hit by a truck throwing off an actual mound and not just flat grounds. But 2 innings were good. Got a hit. And the weather was nice. It's Colorado in March, so what not to love?
Completely agree with that. Yeah, we had 65, 70 degree weather for a 10:30 start time. It was beautiful. So either way, good weekend it sounds like for everybody. I love to hear it. Let's pop into the baseball that everybody came here to hear. This week in baseball, Flax, tell us a little bit more about what happened.
Yeah, a couple non-roster invites that did make the roster. Randall Grichuk, journeyman, really good hitter against lefties. I felt like it was an obvious choice. Also, for the Rockies, TJ Rumfield, who they traded for this offseason with the Yankees, sent Angel Chivilli over there. The Rockies taking him and Kyle Karros onto the roster, who hit really well. Those are two that I thought were, dead set going to be on the roster. On the Rockies side, Troy Johnston hasn't been decided yet. Also a left-handed first baseman, hit really well. Wasn't sure where he was going to land. So, what about some other ones out there, Jack?
I was really focused on the younger guys, especially the guys that I had with the 18U USA team. Really bummed that Bryce Eldridge got sent down, but he's going to be back really fast. I mean, he was up last year, held his own for a little bit. And that first call, it's really tough to make that adjustment so quickly. So the fact that he can go down, have big league camp, go down, I see him being back within a month. I mean, he's just too good. He's got too much power. He's going to go down to AAA, and it's going to seem so easy from what he was facing before, from his call up last year in big league camp. And now he got sent down to hit a homer today, hit a game-tying shot. So was bummed to see Bryce go down, but I think it's for the best. I think he gets some more at-bats and then, gets up there and never comes back. So I'm excited for Bryce's future for sure.
I like it, and I did see the swing today. Looks just fine. He still looks like he's 6'7".
Yes.
Good to know that ABS hasn't changed his height. Maybe
Right.
changing others, but hasn't changed his. Couple other notes that we wanted to make on non-roster invites who made rosters. Ryan Watson, he was the Rule 5 pick of the A's, then the same day traded to the Red Sox. He has made the opening day roster for Boston. Bailey and company doing what they do best, adding a cutter to his arsenal, really changing up his mix. Excited to see what he does at the major league level. JJ Weatherholt on the roster. He's been our guy here on Baseball Unstitched for a while. We're very excited to see him swing the bat. And then, Jack, a guy who I believe at some point in time while you were with the Pirates, Andrew McCutchen made the Texas Rangers roster after having a really strong spring.
Really took 2 weeks. They signed him halfway through. Beautiful.
It's crazy.
I mean, I don't know if you guys follow him on Instagram, but this guy, he's been going solid since January. No teams got him. He still kept working out. He looked great. I mean, he was still throwing out videos like when he was training, and then got an offer, took the job, came here, and just couldn't get out. I was so happy for him. I'm pumped, and especially too, he gets to be in the AL West, so I'm going to get to see him a bunch, which is awesome. So he gets to play against.
Yeah.
I was on base for Andrew McCutchen's first big league homer, and I get to watch him play against Jake. It's like one of my favorite times, like he did last year, but now I get multiple times, so I'm pumped.
That's so cool. Guys that didn't make the roster that we were a little bit surprised about. Dean Kramer for the Orioles, which I think speaks to the work Mike Elias did this offseason, going and getting Shane Baz, going and getting Zach Eflin, getting Chris Bassett, filling out the back end of the rotation with guys like Trevor Rogers, Kyle Bradish leading the way. I don't think Dean Kramer is going to be in AAA long. I think they're just going to continue him on his progression. And the reality of the situation is they're going to need more than 6 arms. They're going to need more than 7 arms. So having a guy like that who tends to not throw very well in April and throws really well beyond that, starting him in AAA, letting him get some of those kinks out early and moving forward might not be a bad idea.
Yeah, one option left for Kramer, so it ended up making a lot of sense, unfortunately. The other 2 guys that had options were the 2 guys at the top of the rotation who they just weren't going to send down. It's how it works at times, and, it's a business that's kind of unfortunate, but Kramer will be back sooner than later. Good arm for the Orioles. Jason Dominguez and Dylan Cruz both not making their opening day rosters. Dominguez seems to be the consistent surprise for all of us. We've known him for a long time at this point. Very highly touted prospect, platoon neutral on both sides as a switch hitter, and did not hit all that poorly this spring. So at the end of the day, I think the Yankees made the choice that they made. The one that I'm more interested in, Jack, did you ever work with Dylan on the USA baseball teams?
So I had him. So he made the 18U team as a sophomore the year before I started. Then when I started, he came in as a junior and actually didn't make the team because that team was absolutely stacked. He was in the plans to make that team, and he didn't have a good summer. He didn't have a good trial. So it was really hard for the USA guys to be like, how do we not take a guy that made the team last year as the youngest player on the team and was a starter? And it was one of those years that we just had. I think Pete Crow Armstrong was in center. I think what was his name? Hendricks was in right. He was a first round pick with the Reds. And I think left field, who's the Washington Nationals young left-handed hitter that made it up to the big leagues last year? I'm blanking on his name. Robert Hassel.
Robert Hassel.
Oh,
Robert Hassel was the left fielder. So, the outfield was stacked, and he just didn't have a good one. So, but I feel bad for him. I felt like he was rushed to the big leagues. I felt like that draft class, with all how fast those college guys got there, I think that the Nationals like, well, he's our number 2 pick. I mean, at the time, Skeens was up doing his thing. Jacob got up. Wyatt Langford got up. Dolander got up. Rhett Lauder got up. And they're like, we got to send our guy up there. And it's not like he was killing it in Double-A. So I feel like it was rushed on a standpoint of, hey, we have to get our number 2 guy up there. And I think it's hurt him. But he's going to be back. He's going to put up some ridiculous numbers in Triple-A. Going to gain that confidence. He's too talented to not be a guy. This will be a really good spot for him to go down, get to work on some stuff outside of the big league clubhouse or a big league, press, all that stuff. I say maybe 3-4 weeks tops. He's back.
Perfect, and it's gonna lead us right into topic number 1 because he was my guy. So that's a good preview of what you guys are going to get to hear here. But I completely agree with you, and we talked a lot about that today actually on Twitter, of the fact that this is a guy who dominated at a lot of different levels, and the expectation is he still has that ceiling, but there might have been some mitigating factors. Before we roll into topic 1, Flax, give us a couple guys on the IL, or who will be starting the season on the IL.
Yeah, and the first one, I don't think anybody's shocked by. When the trade happened with the Orioles and the Angels and Grayson Rodriguez got sent to LA, my commentary on it was, for a guy that has 4 years of control, you're probably talking about more realistically 2.5 years of control when it comes to how often you're going to see him on the field. Opens up the season with dead arm. It's going to be on the IL for who knows how long that ends up lasting. We saw last year Roki Sasaki had dead arm. Sometimes there's not really a telling of how long that lasts for guys, how comfortable they feel. And for a guy like Grayson, who has had injury history, they'll probably slow roll him back into the rotation over some time. Spencer Strider, oblique injury, that came out today. He's falling out of their rotation, starting the season on the IL. And then Kyle Stowers, last week, it was noted he'll be out the first 3 to 4 weeks with a hamstring strain. So tough for some guys that are really exciting players that we want to see. Spencer Strider, we want to see if he can get back to that level that he was at, see if he can find some more pitchability. Grayson, we know the stuff. We just want to see it on the field consistently. And Stowers had a breakout year last year. So unfortunate across the board, but those are guys that are starting on the IL.
Yeah, dead arm's a tough one. You know how I feel about it. That's what led to my shoulder surgery. So It is something I understand. And let me tell you, if you're somebody out there who all of a sudden can't feel your arm the right way, don't throw through it. Let me be the first person to tell you not to. I don't. You don't need to see my bicep on the YouTube right now, but just don't do it. It's hard not to be who you want to be on the hill and on the field, but it's just one of those things to learn from. So I hope others recognize that. I know the Angels will take care of Grayson just fine. So let's hope we see him on the field later in the season. But let's roll into topic number 1.
Angels well.
Let's roll into topic number 1.
I have a question for you guys. Sorry, on the
Please.
DL. Is Kyle Teal back? I know he pulled his hammy during the WBC.
He is not.
I think he's starting. Yeah, he's starting on the IL as well.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on him. He's going to have a big year. Going to have a really big year.
know
I
what?
think the White Sox are going to surprise some people.
You know what? The White Sox just signed Reese McGuire to take over that backup catching role. Edgar Cuero will take the starting spot, and then Corey Lee, is that right? Yeah, Corey Lee was the backup. They're shopping him, which is fascinating. He had a good spring training. I'm surprised they're going with Reese McGuire on a whim instead, but there's probably something deeper there with the way that they're trying to develop a roster.
I think it's a really good call out though, Jack, because we expect him to as well. And the other piece is that Chicago White Sox lineup is very, very talented with reinforcements in droves coming.
Yes,
similar to
droves coming.
That's right. Similar to the team who's on your hat right now.
Yeah, they got the next Nick Kurtz fast mover in Ross Chalosky. he might be there in September after he gets drafted out of UCLA.
It's so good.
We're not here to disagree with that.
Oh my God.
I'll tell you what. All right. So, topic number 1 of the day. Flax was excited about this one. So, we're looking at guys who either did make the opening day roster or did not, who we expect to be impactful in 2026 in some way, shape, or form. Flax, do you want to go ahead and start with your guy?
I do. I appreciate that. This was a topic I came up with last week, and I felt pretty good about it. The guy that I like to talk about is Brandon Williamson. And I'll start with this. He made a comment the other day coming somewhat out of spring training, and he said, I'm getting on that plane. That's all I'll say. I think I'm one of the best 13 pitchers we have, and whether Tito sees that as whatever he sees it as, I will do. And I think there's two things here. I want to hand a guy the ball on the mound who, A, has that level of belief in himself, but B, is willing to do it in any role, right? You need the team guys that are going to take the long relief role and eat innings for you. Williamson's 27, was drafted by the Mariners in 2019 out of TCU. He's a second-round pick, had a bunch of arm issues, had a shoulder issue, was out most of 2024, subsequently at the end of that year, tore his UCL, out all of 2025, came back in spring training, really good stuff. And the thing he does the best, he's in the zone. He throws a lot of strikes, forces hitters to get themselves out, has a good mix to make that happen. And I just, across the board, think that projectability for him this year, he's probably going to end up being a swingman and a long relief guy. The Reds need guys like that to bridge the gap because Chase Burns, if I'm not mistaken, did not make the opening day roster. That's probably an arm that you're going to expect to see. Hunter Green, not going to start the season because of an IL stint and an elbow issue. So across the board, you're going to need innings eaters that are going to find a way to get outs. And I think that Williamson's a really high-level talent that's going to do that for them.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think one of the things that I like the most here is you're adding another left-handed arm from a matchups perspective. I just think that's going to end up being really important for Cincinnati. When you look at what Tito's done in the past, he is the type of guy who both in his bullpen and on the field tends to like to play matchups. So I think what he's done is given himself a little bit more flexibility from an overall perspective to manage in the fashion and style that we're used to seeing him manage in. This is a guy who's got a cutter, a four-seamer, a changeup, and a curveball. He sits around 92 to 93 from the left side. Listen, I'm going to be honest. I didn't know a ton about Brandon Williamson coming in, but I'm going to be the first one to say I'll take a dude like this who has enough stuff, is in the zone, and his hair's on fire every single time he steps on the mound. One of the big things that I think about whenever I use that phrase is my little brother in his state championship game his senior year. We had one conversation. I called him on the phone beforehand, and he said, Ryan, I think I'm going to get in at the end of the game, and I know I can do it. And I said to him, look, I said, nobody questions if you can do it. You just come in with your hair on fire. You come in with your hair on fire, you're going to be you, and you're going to mow people down. And I like the intensity and willingness to – listen, man, it's hard to say stuff like that in the public eye anymore. We know what this world is like. So kudos to him. I love that he made the roster. Any thoughts over there, Jack?
I have two guys.
Tell us.
I'm going to stick with good old Faithful.
I love it.
I mean,
I had a feeling.
I spent a lot of time.
Hold on. We had guesses here, and we both guessed a guy on that team.
Really?
We did. Do you want the guesses first?
Yeah, let me hear the guesses. I have them down. Should I write them down on my little handy-danny Blues Clues?
I thought that you were going to go with a guy who did not make the roster. I was thinking Zach Geloff.
No.
Okay. Ryan?
I had Max Muncy.
There it is. So that was one. Yeah. That was the one that made it. Max Muncy last year made opening day roster because Geloff got hurt. So it wasn't like he won something out. He kind of got it by default. Kind of got up there, and he didn't have a bad spring, but he came up and he was the starting second baseman and kind of jumped around a little bit everywhere, went up and down a little bit. This year he came in saying, I'm going to take that third base job, and he went off. He had over 400, hit 5 home runs, really shored up that question mark. It was very obvious he was going to be the starting third baseman. So I'm super happy for him. Obviously, I coached him in high school since he was a freshman. Super pumped for him, rooting for him. But is there something to be said about when he had that mentality? Is I'm gonna make this change to be an everyday third baseman, and I'm gonna get after it. And he had an unbelievable spring. It was so much fun to watch. So I'm super happy for him. And the A's, because I think he's a 20 home run guy on the floor. He's got crazy power. So
so I put a clip out of you saying that, and people thought I was crazy.
Yeah,
then this spring in 57 plate appearances,
correct,
almost matched his numbers from 220 plate appearances in his stint in the MLB last year.
Yeah, he had like you said, 200 bats. What do you have? 10, 11 homers?
He had nine bombs and
10 bombs.
220
Like,
plate appearances. Yeah.
You're going to give him the everyday role. You're going to give him 500 to 600 at bats. If he solidifies the defense on that third base side, because the thing, he's got crazy power. He's going to have at least one or two multiple.
Yeah.
We're still talking about hitting in Sacramento too. Like, let's put that in perspective. We're hitting in Houston. You know, we're hitting in places that he's got crazy pop. So he gets the amount of bats, he's gonna do it. So as the floor, I'm saying floor. So that's the good thing.
I love that. Was he always that way in high school? Was he just like he was the power guy?
He's built different. He was mature early, but he's never satisfied. He's always wants to be better than who he is now. So that's what's driven him. And he's a freak athlete. He's gonna punch out. He's gonna punch out. He's not gonna choke up, widen up, shoot the ball the other way. He's gonna let it rip, but he's gonna hit 20. So it's all good.
Two notes on Muncy, and I totally agree with you. One, I think a lot of people forget that last year he came up as a 22-year-old really early on. I mean, there's a large adjustment that needed to be made. He came into camp expecting to be in camp, maybe not expecting to be the guy. So the adjustments that he's gotten to make over the last year, I think, will really help him. The additional piece, then you already mentioned it with the ballparks that are played in the AL West, him being a guy who pulls the ball over 45% of the time is really going to help increase that home run total, right? He's going to be a little bit of a Crawford box merchant when he lifts the ball to the pull side in the games against Houston, or the 13 games that they play them this year. So obviously not all those are home or away, but I digress either way. I totally agree with you. I think this is a guy who's got not only a ton of upside, you've got to see him with your own eyes a lot more than me, but knowing your role truly and utterly going into a season and walking into the ballpark, knowing it's your job and what your job is, I think is going to really benefit him in 2026.
I think so. Especially he's 23. He's 23 years old. He even shot a couple homers opposite field in spring training too. So he's like I said, just a guy to watch. Guy I'm really excited about. Answering that question and just taking the reins. And then the other guy that is going to make a huge impact that wasn't on the roster, that wasn't going to be on the roster. It's Gage Jump. Gage Jump is going to be there very quickly. 96 to 98 from the left side with 4-pitch mix.
I like that.
He's there before All-Star break, maybe a month and a half, 2 months. He's been in the system for a couple years. He looked amazing in spring training. His first outing was jitters and heartbeat, but then he was punching guys out left and right. He put up some big strikeout numbers in his time on the. He's going to go start. And he's going to force his way up, which is going to be good for the A's because when he gets up, it's going to push a really good starting arm into a bullpen, so it's going to strengthen the bullpen. And then by the end of August, you're going to have you're going to have Arnold. You're going to have Arnold from Florida State, who Jacob said is one of the best arms he's ever seen.
Really?
So,
has he gotten to face Jamie and Gage both in spring training or in the backfield this year?
Yes. He says Jamie is the real deal. And Gage is amazing too. That's why I'm saying those two guys are going to be, when we talk about the A's, everyone's going to talk about, do they have enough pitching? The future of the A's is their position. What they're talking about now is their position players, this group that's together. The future playoff team that is the A's are going to hinge on those two left-handed arms that they have ready to waiting, and their number one pick this year, which will also likely be a college arm. So
I have this
are really good.
I have this theory, and Ryan disagrees with this theory, but you could go back a long ways before this theory gets broken. World Series winning teams don't win on the backs of homegrown arms. There are homegrown arms in the rotation, in the bullpen, but the leading arm is not a homegrown arm.
Okay.
Because when you're about to take that leap into a World Series winning team, you go get the ace that's on the market, or one of the aces that are on the market. It's just what happens, and especially in the more modern era of baseball. Now, with a new CBA and ability to retain guys maybe a little bit more, that changes. I also think that the benefit of where the A's are at from an extension perspective, the guys that they already have, the extensions bridge the gap to get to the arms being where they need to be a competitive postseason team. And then when you're in a new ballpark and pitchers have gotten to see what the viability is to be a comfortable arm there, You go sign one of the top arms that's in baseball and available and say, you don't want to come play for this team. You don't want to come play with these hitters behind you, with these other awesome young guys in your rotation with you. And that's what those guys will do. They'll be the eye candy that brings that top elite arm to the rotation that gets you over the hump.
I agree. I think the Vegas Athletics, which I'm just going to call them that for now,
That's
are
fair.
going to be one of the premier options for free agents simply because of a brand new state-of-the-art stadium and no state tax. I think those two, plus the team, obviously, I think.
I'm going to say combo that with the long-term bats that they have locked up.
Exactly. It's a perfect storm once they get to Vegas. It really is.
I'm looking at those renderings and I'm thinking it's going to be a pretty pitcher-friendly park. When you start looking at all that glass and all of that summer sun, I'm very curious to see how many adjustments get made in the first 2 or 3 years.
Well, I'm wondering what the air is going to be inside of a dome. Like what? Because there's no breeze, there's no nothing, there's no tunneling to left center. So it always, that first year, I mean, I know that they're planning, I think they're hitting BP there for the first time this year. No grass, all dirt. Obviously the glass won't be up, but they're doing a promotional thing because the A's are playing a full week of their major league schedule in Vegas this year against the Rockies and the Brewers as home games. They're playing in the AAA stadium.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. So there's a lot of stuff going on that the A's are going to be doing to promote the new stadium, to promote the team, to get people in. So
that's pretty cool.
It's just very exciting.
And just for people's awareness, because not everybody understands how all this works, it does sit 2,000 feet above sea level. Mm-hmm. Similar to Arizona, the ball will fly a little bit more than sea level. It's not Denver, but it's enough so that you notice a difference. If you're a golfer, you understand might hit one club further than you normally would in a place like Scottsdale than you would on the East Coast in New York.
Right.
It's the same idea with baseball. It's gonna fly a little bit more, but like you said, it'll be interesting to see what those guys notice when they actually take BP and see the ball fly a little bit.
What's really going to be interesting is that week against Colorado and Milwaukee. If you're a betting man, I'm going over 60 homers in 6 games. That AAA stadium is an absolute. I might be the best launching pad in the history of baseball. That place is unbelievable. The outfield.
Do you think you would have been? You think you would have been consistently double digits every year in a place
30.
like that?
I'd hit 30. When you watch this game, you guys will be sitting at home watching this game, and the outfielders will have their heels on the warning track. I'm telling you,
I'm in.
it's going to be absolute chaos. The Colorado Rockies would be like, yeah, we're used to this. We're cool. Whatever. Ball flies. But it doesn't have the dimensions of the Colorado Rockies. It's going to be a fun 6 games because it's everybody who has a fantasy baseball team. Go pick up every Rocky and A guy you could possibly get off waivers or trades for that 1 week, and don't start any of your pitchers because it is going to be just absolute NASA everywhere.
I'm clipping that and saving it.
And what Jack didn't tell you guys is that 10 of those 60 home runs will be Nick Kurtz. So good luck to everybody else.
I love it.
Another 10 will be Max Muncy.
Never know.
It's going to be
Never know.
so much fun.
Before we move to my guy, I do want to also reinforce your guy, Gage Jump here, was topping out at right above 100.
Yeah.
Also this spring training.
No, it's
We're
real.
talking about adding that arm with a team that has a very good opportunity here to make a run towards a playoff this year, even in Sacramento. Adding 100 from the left side with 4 pitches that they can put in the zone. Yeah,
He's good.
we like that around these parts, guys. So
You're going to let him get a couple starts in AAA. If he dials in, it's going to be quick.
I believe it. And then you brought up Jamie Arnold as well. We've absolutely loved him over here. That's Chris Sale 2.0 in my opinion. I love that we're getting to see the reincarnation of him in a slightly different form and format. From the left side, just as funky, just as hard to pick up, throwing just as hard. So that's going to be a lot of fun as well. He could absolutely find his way into MLB innings this year, and I just don't think enough people recognize that. So great call out by you, Jack. My guy, talked about him a little bit. Jack gave us a good opening here. Dylan Cruz doesn't make the opening day roster for the Nats. We're relatively aligned here. He's a guy that I think is really only going to be down for the first month at the maximum. I totally agree with you that there's adjustments that probably need to be made. I think he faces two really big things, and I don't know that either of them were 100% in his control. One, this is a guy who has succeeded anywhere and everywhere he stepped on a baseball field. Adversity is going to strike everybody. It's how you come back for that. I think one of the things that he's shown us in his short stint as a pro is that there's no let up in Dylan Cruz, which is something that already allows me to believe that he will find a way. The second piece is the Nationals have a new young regime who is going to look at hitting a little bit differently. Though I might not always agree with every specific thing that Driveline looks at or different things of this nature, what I do agree with is that we can't get into the middle of a definition of insanity situation. If it's not working at some point, we have to change the inputs. Because the definition of insanity is you do the same thing over and over and over again and you get the same result. I think the new regime makes me confident that Cruz is going to go down with a little bit different of a development plan, hopefully a little bit more positivity behind the situation. And Jack, you said it yourself. I expect him to absolutely rake in AAA to start the year, and I think he'll be back on the Nats roster very soon.
A guy like him, go ahead. Watching him last year, got a little pull happy, and that happens with a lot of young hitters. If he's so strong, he doesn't need to pull the ball, staying in the middle of the field, hit it, try to hit a line drive off the hitter's eye every time. Try to hit a line drive double off the center field, and he's going to be able to find it.
So there was a point in the year last year where Dylan Cruz did start to figure it out, and funny enough, it was here in Colorado. And one of the things that Ryan and I talked about was that he was going to, because he was at altitude, he was going to be comfortable just kind of letting go and just hitting the baseball wherever in the ballpark, knowing it would fly. And if I'm not mistaken, Ryan, his first home run was the other way into the bullpens in Colorado. Because he has that kind of power when he lets it go and just focuses up the middle of the field.
And it looked just like a home run. We had seen, I think, a week or two before that Aaron Judge hit the other way into the bullpen. It was not for lack of majesticness either, right? He ended up hitting 2 home runs in that game. That was one of his better games. Cruz, of course, welcome to how baseball works, ends up getting injured within the next 3 weeks, and that kind of stalled the situation for him. So, look, at the end of the day, for me, this is easily a 20-plus home run guy when he's right and when he's available. He's going to be a 20 stolen base guy, and we all know he can play a premier outfield at any of the 3 spots. One of the things the Nats are really strong in right now when it comes to their young players is the outfield core, and what they have is very crowded and very packed. So I don't think this is a bad thing to allow yourself to have some time, because there are some other really fun young players for Nats fans to watch. Dalen Lyle being at the top of my list, and James Wood as well, of course. Hard to forget him after watching some of those line drive opposite field backspun home runs that barely got over 12 feet, it felt like.
Yeah. Well, the only other thing I want to add there, and Jack, you had mentioned this right out of the gate when we were talking about Dylan Cruz, was that he didn't make that Team USA roster. And that was probably one of the few times that he showed up to the ball field and wasn't the best guy there. Showed up to the ball field and didn't put on his best show in a situation where he kind of needed to. And so his ability to now knowing how that ended up playing out and him bouncing back and playing as well as he did in college that year and all those things is like, okay, this is a guy who knows himself. He's confident in himself. He's comfortable with himself. Actually, I think it was a tweet we put out today. Mike Cameron replied to it and basically said, like, when you're at that level of sports, you start to recognize that sports has this unique ability to challenge you more and more the better you get at it.
Right.
And especially baseball. If you can learn how to not drive yourself insane trying to get better, if you can learn to enjoy the process, get a little bit uncomfortable, but still enjoy the game for what it is, you'll find success.
Yeah.
Dylan Cruz is still 24 years old. He has plenty of time to get to his physical peak, be really successful in it. And the one thing I did want to say before, would you believe that he's a full year older than Jason Dominguez for as long as we've known Jason Dominguez?
That's crazy.
That's nuts. But yeah, no, I like good things for Dylan Cruz. I'm still a believer. I'm still buying that stock low right now.
You guys are going to be doing a podcast 3 weeks from now, and you're going to be like, Dylan Cruz is hitting 420, and he's got 9 homers. Like, it's just going to be a relaxing thing for him where he can really focus on doing things with all the other noise that usually happens with a big league season. So I think it's going to be fun. We'll be back.
Love it. I'm glad you're on the same page as me because not everybody was agreeing with me. I was told I shouldn't have used the word dominated at every level just because all of a sudden he wasn't more than above average at the AA and AAA level. Yeah. Crazy concept of how hard that probably is. I haven't been there, so I know it's hard. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say. Guys, the only one who knows is Jack. And by the way, made it past that. Jack, you're the man.
Thanks, guys.
Made it past that pretty quickly. Yeah. leading us really well into our next topic, actually.
There it is. That's where I was going.
Nice.
Jack, you had the opportunity to start opening days 2001 and then 2003 through 2011. We would be remiss if we didn't ask you some questions on the opening day podcast about opening day. And I want to start with the one, and this is like favorite interview question back to somebody interviewing me. You'll enjoy this one, but like, let's start with it, man. What does opening day mean to you as a guy who's got the opportunity to start that many times?
I think it's special because, it's the start of a new beginning. It's a new season. Everybody's got the same record. There's hope. There's hope in the stands. Some teams have more hope than others, but it's just exciting. Every stadium's full. So there's teams that don't really get that many full stadiums over the course of the year. So having the full stadium and having all those people there kind of gives you that extra juice. And to be honest with you, if I were to, it's probably my least favorite game to play over the entire year. Because there's so much build-up. Yeah, because there's so much build-up. There's so much fanfare. There's getting on the line. There's, you do have your money national anthem. Usually singing that national anthem that day, money.
I can't even imagine.
It's not the weekday 1 o'clock game that it's kids' day and all the kids from school are coming and you're throwing out somebody to sing that.
Ryan knows exactly why I started laughing when you said that.
Yeah.
Because what you just described is like 50 to 60% of the national anthems at the Rockies games. Ooh. It's just kids plastered on the outfield wall, like 20 of them, from some school chorus singing the national anthem. And it's not your opening day national anthem.
Opening day national anthem is always the best. It's always going to be somebody who's got a recording thing or somebody that's on a Broadway show.
Little
flyovers, all that stuff's cool, but it's just like there's so much fanfare and it's one game. There's no difference between that game and number 13 or 57 or 74. They're all the same, but there's so much buildup. And the worst is if you happen to be, I think the Cubs might have had 4 opening days last year where they started 4 different opening days, their own plus 3 others on the road.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my gosh. I'll lose my mind. Like, they're just because you're like, we're going to walk out again. They're going to announce everybody again. Like I said.
You're 5 games in and you're just like, I just want to play baseball.
Dude,
just like, let me get to the field and do my
game
thing.
3, you're getting into the rhythm of Groundhog Day that is the baseball season. All right? But that one game is like the first game of playoffs. It's just so much more. And it's just like, let's just get through this game, get this W, try to get a few knocks, get a ground ball or 2, and just get to game 2. Like, it was just – but, like I said, as a fan's perspective, there's so much that goes in there. There's excitement because you're not going – maybe you don't get to go out to spring training games. So you get to see baseball for the first time since the World Series. So – and maybe the first time in person since September. So love that for the fans. I just like – for me, it was just like, can we just play game 2? Can we just get to game 2? And so because every team can at least have 2 opening days because they're going to open somebody on the road. I mean, I don't know where Atlanta's starting, but the A's are starting in Toronto, so we're opening Toronto. I don't know where the Braves are starting. If they're starting at home, then they don't have to do that. But then they're going to Sacramento for their opener. So depending on what the Braves do, they might have 3, and then they're off. I don't even know where they go to after they go to Sacramento. I think they go to New York for an entire week. Actually, they have the Mets the Yankees and the Mets back to back, so that's going to be a pretty.
That's a tough early season week. Though.
It's tough, but it's great if you're a family member because you get to go hang out for an entire week in the same hotel. All right, that's pretty cool.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah, as a player going to get there on Sunday night, have a day off in New York, and then you're in the same hotel in the same bed till the following Sunday. That's pretty awesome. That never happens.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
These are the things you don't think about as a fan.
I love it.
These are the things that just like would be outside. Like I think there's a lot of people that say like there's different cities that they like to have their travel day and then their day off be into. I know Denver is one that a lot of players really like.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's just a lot to see here.
Awesome.
It's a cool place to come to.
Yeah.
I know there's some spots in California that guys like. I'm sure some less than others, depending on how much they're willing to spend on their off day.
Right. Or how much the
when
wives are spending on the off day.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
They're all going to Cali. They're not missing that trip.
No,
When you fly in for the 25 NABA championship this year for the Denver Jays, what are you going to do for your off day? Is there something specific you'd like to do here?
I'm gonna probably the cuisine of the town. Probably just dive into that. Find the best restaurant, and then just be ready to strap it on the next day. Get a good night's sleep, a lot of vitamin C. Get after it.
Perfect. I love it. That's awesome. Right. We'll have it ready if you like Italian food. My girlfriend is like the salesman and spokesperson for this Italian place.
Save number two.
It's a very good
number
restaurant.
2 jersey for me, please. Just put it off to the side, and then I'll roll right in.
I actually don't know that we have a number 2 on our team.
You might be in the clear.
Let's go.
I got a new number this year. I'm excited about it. I am curious, was there ever a home opener that you guys had in like very inclement weather? Did you ever deal with like a snowstorm or anything, or did you generally get pretty good weather?
No, nothing crazy that I remember. I know in the first series we ended up having some snow flurries, but not the opening day.
Yeah.
Opening day, especially opening day 2001, opened the stadium at PNC Park. First game ever in the stadium. That was my first game ever. I mean, I played a series in Cincinnati before we got to PNC Park, but to open up a stadium, I told Jacob that's going to be pretty cool because I got to open up PNC and he's going to be able to open up Vegas.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's as shortstop.
That's really
pretty
neat.
Sweet. So I think, I think
you got to do a Cincinnati opening day.
Well, yes, we opened up Great American Ballpark. Yeah,
that's a big one around baseball.
Yeah, 03. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
The next day in headlines, not so Great American Ballpark. I was like, ooh.
Oh God,
that's tough.
Were you ever getting up there for your first at bat? Just like, let me just get this first knock out of the way. Let me just be done with it.
I just wanted to be honest with you. I'm like, let's be done. Let's just be done. I don't think I ever.
I'm so glad.
I don't think I ever got a first at bat of the season knock. I know. In 04, I got a second at bat at season of the knock. I know that one. That was off Kevin Millwood, and I remember
they really made you wait. They really made you wait too, because you were a lot of those lineups I saw. You were in the 9-hole. They really made you wait a good amount of at bats before you got to get that first one out of the way too.
I was like, whatever. Especially early on. I was like, oh, you're just gonna stack bunt me anyways. It's all good.
Go 0 for 0 with 4 sack bunts on the day.
Beautiful.
I recognize that you did it at a much higher level, but there is just going to be a new inside joke developing between the three of us about how many times we all had a sack bunt in our entire lives. It's
developing how much I'm noticing similarities in your game that you did at a very high level that I did at a very low level comparatively. And it's just we're very much the same type of player,
the bunting,
very different levels.
Remember bunting in the National League before they changed over to the DH? The bunting was a big deal. The hitters were always bunting.
I guess you would have been in the 8-hole. That's not fair. Yeah. That's not fair to you. I didn't think about that.
Well, most of my bunts came in the
rude flags.
2-hole. 2-hole I bunted a lot because I never really bunted in the 8-hole unless it was late in the game and they had a pinch hitter behind it. Because if I got to the point where I was bunting for the pitcher to hit over me, it would have been tough. That would have been tough.
That's a really good point to be made while we're sitting here having this conversation. There's a lot of young listeners who will just, in general, not recognize or even totally remember how important it was for the 8-hole hitter, especially with 2 outs, to do everything they could to get the pitcher up.
Yeah.
Because you can't start an inning and give up the automatic out. And that was how National League Baseball was played forever.
Yeah.
And unless you really needed that guy to go back out on the mound.
Yeah.
Sure. But point being is like that was part of the chess match of National League Baseball that has been lost to time now in our game.
It took me a while. Those first 3 years were tough because you were always looking behind you at the on deck circle, and you had to know if there was 2 outs and there was a man in scoring position or if there's a guy at second base or something, they're gonna throw nothing but junk and try to get you to get yourself out because they'd just rather walk you and just let the pitcher hit. Or if there's nobody out and it's 2 outs, here comes a bunch of heaters because they need you to get out. They need you to get out so the pitcher So the pitcher starts off the next inning. So that was a
Yeah.
I never hit. I was 1, 2, and 3 in the minor league, so I never had that. So when I went up there, my first at bat, I saw 7 straight sliders, and I had no idea what was happening. And there was a man on first and second, and I just kept. I'm like, what is?
You're sitting there. You're like, I didn't pummel fastballs in the minor leagues. I don't know what you're thinking. I am.
I'm 175 pounds, bro. I'm like, I'm tiny. Why are you worried about me? And then I was like, 2 years later, I was like, oh, all right, 7 sliders. That makes sense. Yeah.
Awesome. Was there a moment like early on in your career, like maybe even the second or third opening day, where you were just like, wow, like I get to do this. Like I'm here. Like I made it type of deal.
It's always an honor. It's always an honor to be able to put on the jersey and start a season. And, you're hopefully that's the season that you can have to help your team get over the hump or win or just, have a good season. I mean, we're all still trying to make a living doing this job, and there's so many people ready to take your job that you got to fend off. So it's just like you're rooting for all your teammates. You're rooting for other guys to have a safe and healthy season too, like even your opponents, because we're all in this together. We're all trying to do our best. When you're playing the game, you're beating each other and you're taking their hits away and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's like we're all trying to play this crazy game that's so hard to do and so hard to be successful and so hard to be consistent. And so it's just those opening days, man, you're going around, and that's the one time that you're dapping everybody on the team, like have a good season, like in your praying, all that stuff. So it's a special moment leading up to that as a team, like just wishing everybody the best health and best season for the entire 162.
I love it. Is there one opening day memory that trumps the rest of them for you?
No, not really. Just that first one at PNC Park, because the city was such a buzz about having that new stadium. Coming from Three Rivers that had been there forever, that was a football stadium and a baseball stadium. For them to get their own venue, and it's so. I mean, obviously, I don't know if you guys have been there, but it's the best in the game. Like it's just the.
I haven't
completely
yet.
agree.
It's the best in the game. So for the Pittsburgh is such an amazing sports town. For them to get that, was a special day, because they're like, all right, now we can be a baseball town, not just a Steelers town or a Penguins town. And obviously the roster didn't catch up until I think, 12 years later or 13 years later when they made the playoffs, when McCutcheon was the MVP and he led them to back-to-back playoff berths. But you saw what the city did in 2012 and 2013 and the energy that they brought for those playoff games. But yeah, really special to see the fan base so excited to have that place to call baseball home,
And I couldn't agree with you more. So I've had the opportunity. I've been lucky enough to go to 22 stadiums, either currently in use or out of use at this point. And PNC ranks in the top 3 for me, no question. I want your feedback on this, because you have seen how the stadium looks, and you've probably even just sat in different positions. But there is nothing like the third base side night game.
Yeah.
And the city lights up with the bridge behind the stadium. It is one of the most beautiful places to play a game of baseball. And what I love it sounds like you felt like that way as a player too, which is amazing.
Well, it was crazy for me because it was like I'm looking that way, I'm hitting that way, and sometimes you'd be like on deck, be like, oh, dude, that's really nice looking, It comes quick though, because you got to get up there and hit. But it's just like, it was just a very special place to be, and the clubhouse was awesome. Like everything about the stadium is immaculate. It's really nice. They've done a lot of additions to that. Sometimes I go in there and I'll visit guys. When Jake played at PNC Park last year, I went in and like, wow, you guys have an entire restaurant in here. I was like, where was that? 20 years ago. And then, like, they have a game room. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. Like, we had a ping pong table once, and you guys have a game room. Like, it's pretty sick.
You helped build that, Jack. Come on, give yourself some credit here.
I don't know.
It's the house that Jack built. I think that's the thing for me of stadiums across the board and like the evolution of them. And I spent so much time at Camden Yards growing up, and we sat, first row, second level, in line with first and second base. So you have the look out behind the bullpens. You see the clock tower that's all the way out there in the city, and it's incredible. And then however many years ago, they put up a giant hotel, and it's gone. Yeah. And now all you see in left field is the hotel, and I'm like,
dang it.
those nights where that clock tower was lit up blue, the sun would go down, and you just had such an incredible view of the city and the game, and everyone in the dugout, both dugouts from on the field, you see that from where you are, just like the fans are, and it's such a cool look. And over time you see that with so many stadiums, stuff changes, and now we have all these open concourses, and nobody gets to walk out of the tunnel from the concourse out to the field. And Wrigley Field, when you walk into the stadium, you're like below the field level. You walk upstairs. It feels like you're walking out of the dugout onto the field when you were walking. And Fenway's very similar. And I wish that more stadiums still did that. And I get why they don't, right? The open concourse is good because people are happy to leave their seat in the middle of an at-bat and go get food. They can still see the game. And I get it. But there's something about it feels like a religious experience when you walk through the tunnel and you see the field out, just it opens up and it is palatial, and the grass is a level of green that doesn't exist in a backyard. It is perfect. Everywhere you go, it's so nice, and it's, you feel like it's the kind of thing you could sleep on. So I think about, opening day for a player coming out of the locker room tunnel into the dugout's got to just be that on steroids. It's got to be incredible.
It is. You're just hoping it's on the West Coast and it's warm. That's when it really helps. Or it's a dome.
I played college baseball in Ohio. I don't think I had sunshine for any single one of my opening day. My first career game, we played in 30 degrees and snow. So I don't know what that's like, opening up in sunshine.
Yeah, well, everybody on this podcast definitely knows what East Coast baseball is like, so no explanations needed. Jack, really appreciate you sharing some of your opening day memories and talking a little bit more with us about opening day and overall just some of the memories you had. We are always appreciative. As always, thank you to Jack Wilson for being on the podcast. You get a little extra time with him in the second part of our opening day special here at Baseball Unstitched. As always, guys, we really appreciate you. We're excited to see you tomorrow instead of next week. Make sure you share the podcast with your friends. Spotify, Apple, YouTube, they still have time to listen to part one. Of course, like us on all the socials, X, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts. But as always, guys, have a great day.